welcome to the Empire and Kingdom Fantasy Football League.
Let's
Um,
go.
you'll see I've got Eric here with me, one of your co-commissioners. I'm your chief bitch in charge, the commissioner, and I'm really excited about this league. Like, I've wanted to do this for a really long time, and was like kind of hoping one start on its own, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking start it and try and find like 8 people. Hope that works, and it ended up getting to 10, and which is awesome. And we've got people from like all over the country. I think Eric is the only person that knows everybody.
Yep.
Um, but this is going to be a way for us to all like get to know each other, learn a little bit about each other's teams, and hopefully like make this a really active league. Because in Dynasty, it has to be active or the league's going to die. Um, you got to make a lot of trades, and judging from like leagues that Eric and I have played in before, like there aren't a ton of trades that go down. But that's a huge part. So I wanted to welcome you guys on behalf, and we're gonna start off by doing a little interview with myself and Eric, and then in upcoming weeks or maybe even a few days, we'll have each of you guys on to talk a little bit about your team, introduce yourself, and get to know everybody. All right, so the first question is which team do you support, Eric?
Ooh, it's a good question for me. So, as you've probably all followed in the news, Aaron has stuck with our team, the formerly, Washington Redskins turned Washington football team turned Commanders doo-doo shit show of the last 20 years has been Dan Snyder's reign. And finally, they're free. But in the last like 3 years, I have given up on when they changed the name, the Commanders, and I'm now a full Broncos fan, as you can see my apparel today. Shout out to Demarius Thomas, RIP, one of my favorite players. Had this jersey for a while now, but I do still in backup have old school RG3 jersey,
The
so you can tell
savior.
where my roots came from. But yeah, so now a full-fledged Broncos fan, but there is hope that I might come back around to be a football fan
Yeah.
eventually with the new ownership. We'll see. I'm gonna give it if they change the name. That was my two criteria. Dan Snyder had to go was one, and then second is fuck the Commanders shitty ass name. So
I
same
think
question
that's
you, Aaron,
coming.
which I think we know the answer to, but you can extrapolate a little
Yeah,
of
I'm
your
I'm a
fandom
Washington
history.
fan. Thank God Dan Snyder's gone. Like I felt like ashamed to be a fan of the team. And like I bought a shirt once and like was like excited to wear it in the gym, and then I'm like washing it, pulling out of the dryer, and I'm like looking at the logo and stuff, and like all the stuff is in the news about how like the logo's racist, and I'm like I can't, like I feel like shitty to like support my team in public. So I was really happy they changed the name. Washington football team was like fine, but the Commanders fucking sucks. It's
Yeah,
so lame. So I'm very happy that they're most likely going to change it now. So we'll see.
I want Red Tails. I'm holding out for the Red Tails.
Yeah,
I think
Red
that'd be a
Tails
sick name.
was. I would love that one. Even Red Wolves, anything. What was important to me is like keeping the HTTR.
Hmm.
And then like this year or last year they did like HTTC. Oh, and that pissed me off. I was like, don't just fucking like take this historic like abbreviation like hail to the Redskins and then just put a C in it. Like if we're gonna do it, like make the name something with an R and then we keep the HTTR. But like HTTC was just fucked up. Yeah.
Damn. All right, well, moving on to next question here. So, favorite players currently on the team. I assume this question was going for.
Yeah, favorite players on the team right now, Deron Payne, similar name, and that dude is badass on the offensive line. And then Terry McLaurin. Like, dude's just a class act. Professional, fucking good. Like, I would love for him to be like go down in history as like one of the best wide receivers on the Washington team. And I mean, hopefully he stays. Like, I think he's got a couple more years on his contract, but I hope he, you know, now there's a lot more player movement, but I'd really love to like get that wide receiver that stays forever. What about yourself, Eric? Favorite players on? I guess you can answer for both teams since you support two now.
Well, coming back around maybe to the second one. Yeah, I mean Terry was one of my favorite players on the team back then. Deron Payne. I still have some hope for Chase Young to come back from injury and look good because he had kind of a monster for a little bit there. But Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Terry. Like, I want him to be one of the best wide receivers in, whatever we want to call Washington football team history. So that would be sick. For the Broncos, though, this one was a little tough for me because there's just been so many injuries to like a lot of the young players, especially like wide receivers. I mean, again, Tim Patrick just went down like a week ago with the Achilles tear. So, um, favorite player is right now like Patrick Certain, second, PS2, fucking sick. He's great cornerback. Love watching him. And this one, just because he had so much promise, but also was hurt, was Javonte Williams. Like I was all in on him last year before he got hurt. So I'm excited for him to come back. I'm excited for Tim Patrick to come back. I'm excited for Cortland Sutton to come back. There's just been so many injuries. So like Cortland Sutton would have been on this list too, but I kind of want to see what he's gonna look like this year. So yeah,
Mhm.
that was a bit of a there's a lot of injuries and a lot of good players on the team. So
Yeah.
hopefully come
How
back.
long have you been playing fantasy football?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I had to go back and look this up, and we missed a little bit, which we'll probably get to in a second. But since 2013, so like this is my 10th year, which is crazy. I didn't realize it was that long. I for sure thought it was like closer to the end of like when we graduated from college, like 2016 timeframe. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, that was when the first ESPN league was. But we don't have any of that history because ESPN fucking blows. So I don't actually know how I did back then. But yeah, 2013 was my first year.
Yeah, same here. I think it was sophomore. I mean, that was sophomore year we started. I didn't know like anything really about fantasy football. Like I think the juniors convinced us all to like do it. Um, and like I didn't even really like follow football that well or that closely back then. You know, but that like got me into it a little bit more. Like I liked the strategy and competing, and fell in love with football again. Became a bigger fan of the Washington team. Um,
I
so
was
how many?
definitely pick. Good. I was definitely picking quarterbacks in the first round back then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember I started. I had Peyton Manning that year. When that was the year he was like ridiculous on the Broncos, and like I'm pretty sure I did really well and knew like
yeah,
nothing. So
fuck
that's probably why I stayed on. So, have you had any trophies, and what's your winning percentage?
yes. So look this up again. Don't know ESPN history, so it's about 2 years, maybe 3 years of teams I don't know anything
Mm,
about from then. Um, but I do. I'm kind of a if you ain't first, you're last fantasy football player. So I have 5 first place trophies and then only one second place and one third place trophy in all of the um, leagues I could look up going back through Yahoo and now Sleeper League. So probably back to like 2015, 2016 timeframe.
mhm.
Which I feel like it's pretty good. Like 10 years, that's 7 trophies. It's not too bad. My combined winning percentage is like it's fine. Again, either I do well and win or I suck ass. I feel like so. Combined winning percentage was like just over 50% at 50.7% between Yahoo and Sleeper.
Yeah,
So yeah,
a
you
lot of
gonna one up me
seasons.
now?
So yeah, I gotta one up you.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm ready.
uh, yeah, I mean we couldn't look up ESPN, but like I don't know. We'll just say
Probably had
nothing
like
happened then.
3 more first place
Yeah,
finishes then.
probably
We can
three.
just count those.
But this is from like Yahoo and Sleeper, and that's from 2016. I had three first place, two second place, and four third places. My winning percentage was 57.8,
Shit, that's
which I'm
fucking
pretty
good.
happy with. Like I consider myself pretty good. I try to stay plugged in. So that's like all of you guys. Like we invited you because we know you're plugged in and you've been like good and care. So invite only, just the
Hell
pros.
yeah.
So, getting to our draft, Eric. Let's run through our teams quickly, and then we'll see how happy you were with your draft.
Starting quarterback, my boy Josh Allen. I feel like I've had him in like 4 or 5 different leagues in the last few years somehow. It just always ends up falling to me wherever I'm drafting, but not unhappy with that, obviously. Great player. Love watching him play. Um, Very exciting. Hope he stays healthy this year. Running backs for me right now, I got Saquon Barkley. Thankfully, I figured that out. He got his extra $1 million, so he'll be playing this year. So psyched for that. And then I got Travis Etienne. I also like watching him play. I think he's good back, and hopefully he'll get some more touches this year in Jacksonville. Wide receivers, I got I got Waddle starting me out, Jalen Waddle, and then I got DK Metcalf, and then our boy Terry McLaurin, who I stole from Aaron. We were like messaging back and forth on draft day between picking him up and Dotson. So I ended up with Terry, and I don't think you ended up with Dotson. I can't remember who drafted
No,
him. Someone took
I
him
don't
like
know.
right before you.
I
Yeah.
wanted it, but maybe I'll trade. Chauncey has him, I'm pretty sure. So Chauncey, hit
Yeah.
me up, or I'll probably be hitting
uh,
you up.
I went a little older for my tight ends. I got my boy Darren Waller, who I've had a couple years ago, who was fucking killing it. He was kind of my like sleeper tight end then, and then just like crushed it. It was that year he like went off. So I'm hoping he'll have a little bit of a resurgence with the Giants this year. Then I also have Brandon Ayuk, who's sick, wide receiver, San Francisco. Sniped him from Pete because I know Pete was trying for the All San Francisco team. Um, and then I got David Montgomery, and my second quarterback is Jared Goff. And then sitting on my bench right now, in no order, I got Trey Lance, my other quarterback. We'll see if he sees some time this year, hopefully. On the field, I got AJ Dillon, a big, you know, hopefully big year. It always seems to be kind of a backup, so we'll see. I got Kenneth Gainwell, um, Zonovan Knight. I don't know how to pronounce this dude's last name, but Israel
Easy.
Abracadabra. He's fucking sick. I hope he has a good year this year on the Jets too. So I got two Jets running backs. Then I have the little toddler. I don't know if I hope you guys all saw that video, which I thought was hilarious. I posted in Discord a couple weeks ago. Deuce Vaughn on the Cowboys, one of my other rookies. Um, then I got Jonathan Mingo. Excited to see him play on Carolina. Um, got the old guy Devontae Parker on the Patriots. Hopefully he has a good year. Got my boy Cortland Sutton. Um, and I have Isaiah Hodges on the Giants, Rondell Moore on Arizona, which Arizona looks like a shit show. So we'll see how that fucking plays out. Joshua Palmer, young wide receiver on the Chargers, and then I have Romeo. I don't know if it's Dubes or Dobbs. I've heard it both ways. Romeo Dobbs, and then I got Tyson Hill, a little fun pick, and then Ish Smith is my other tight end.
Ish Smith
After,
on the
yeah,
Wizards.
Irv Smith. Yeah, Irv Smith, not Ish Smith. Yeah, Irv Smith. And then on my taxi squad, if we're gonna go that, I got Stetson Bennett, 30-year-old quarterback straight out of college, whoever the fuck old he is. Got Luke Schoonmaker, tight end for the Cowboys, and then Justin Shorter, wide receiver on the Bills. It's my whole squad. A
Nice.
lot of
So
players. I forget how many players we have in this league. It's crazy.
yeah, how happy were you with your draft? How happy are you with your current team right now?
I'm very happy. I think I took a little bit different direction from most folks. So I went not totally like full, compete now, like throw all the chips in to win like this year kind of team. But my draft strategy was to compete in these first few years and also get some players who are proven but like younger. So like, the Jalen Waddles, DK Metcalf, all, like low to mid 20-year-old players, not too many miles on them, but have like given some years where they've looked good, at least past their like rookie year. So I was actually really happy with my draft because I feel like I got a lot of those guys. Again, like Brandon Ayuk, like still not too old, but like has had some good years and looks like he's trending upwards, like players like that. Um, and yeah, so I don't have as many like maybe, sleeper rookies or anything like that, like quite long term, other than, like got like Trey Lance and Stetson Bennett kind of in the wings and a few running backs and, Mingo wide receiver. But I was overall like pretty happy with how the draft went for me and my draft strategy. So yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Like that was my goal too, is try and like toe the line, be competitive um this year, but sort of build for the future. I'll run through my team real quick. So I got
Let's do it.
Justin Herbert. I had the third pick in the draft, and I'll sort of go off on a tangent here because I had that draft day trade with Brian. When I got the third pick, I was like, okay, like that's pretty good. I can get an elite quarterback here. But then, like as I learned more, I realized like, okay, it's obviously Kelsey's going, and probably Josh Allen, and then Hurts. Like they're in a kind of a tier of their own. And I didn't want Hurts. Like I'm a Washington fan, and I know we had an Eagles fan, and I was like, okay, like let me see if I can trade with Brian, get someone who like I actually want to root for. And then he can root for Hurts and be happy, and then maybe pick up a little bit of value on the way. So I ended up trading back from the third spot to the fifth spot, and then we switched my ninth for his seventh. So we were pretty happy. Thought it was a very fair trade. But yeah, my draft went on, and so that was Justin Herbert. Then I've got Jahmyr Gibbs, Kendre Miller, Chris Olave at wide receivers, Drake London, Jordan Addison to round out my three young wide receivers. Then Chigoziem Okonkwo for my tight end, Javonte Williams,
My
Eric's
boy.
favorite. Then I've got I had James Cook, but now I've got Deontay Johnson. I've also got Russell Wilson. Hope he's a little
Not
bit
my
better
boy
this year.
last year.
I got Jordan Love, then my boy Anthony Richardson. That was like the guy I wanted in the draft. Like I'll go a little bit more into that later, but I was trying to trade up in the second round to get him. Like I was hitting a couple people up where I thought he might go, and I actually had a trade on the board with John, who was picking like eighth or something, and like we had it all planned out. Like I was gonna trade up and take his pick, and I was gonna trade my additional seventh round for his ninth, the one I got in the trade with Brian. But when Fields was on the board, John is a Bears fan. He told me like I can't do it anymore. Like I have to have Fields, and I understood, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just hope he comes to me, and boom, I got him. So I was very happy. Rounding out my team, Kenny McIntosh, Damian Harris, Travion Williams, Keontae Ingram, Jaden Reed, A.T. Perry, Michael Gallup, Richie James, Nico Collins, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs. All these guys are wide receivers. Went pretty heavy there. Isaiah Likely, Baltimore tight end.
I
I've
wanted
got
him. You fucking took him from me.
right for you. Then I've got Naheem Hines, who's now injured, and J.K. Dobbins. Then a couple younger guys, Parker Washington, rookie wide receiver on the Jaguars, Trey Palmer, rookie wide receiver on Tampa Bay, and then Sean Tucker, rookie running back out of Syracuse on the Bucks, who I'm pretty excited for. Like he had this heart condition, which made him go undrafted, but like he was really good, and he was projected to be like a fairly, I think like first four rounds of the actual NFL draft. So hopefully he's healthy and he's going to contribute this year. The rookie report, we'll call it. Who are you pumped for on your team, and what do you see in those players?
Ooh, is this supposed to be on my team? Because I just did it in general.
Oh, you could go in general. I mean,
Because you'll be
we would
happy
have.
with
Yeah,
this.
I'll
Yeah,
be a little happy.
you'll be happy with this one. So I did in general. I mean, we can go into players on my team too, but I'm actually really psyched to see Anthony Richardson play this year
Yeah,
because
let's go.
we'll get there as a little surprise for that. But yeah, I'm psyched to see him play, and also Jahmyr Gibbs, who I think is also on your team,
He's on my
um,
team.
and Jackson Smith and Jigba as well. Like I couldn't really decide between those two if I just had to pick a couple, but yeah, those were the rookies I'm just like psyched to play or see play this year. I didn't quite get any of them, but yeah, and then on my team, like I honestly am very curious to see how Deuce Vaughn does. Like I think he could just be like a little wrecking ball, but he's like a 5'5" running back and small little dude, and I hope he just doesn't get pummeled. So if I had to pick one on my team, I'm probably most excited to see him or Jonathan Mingo, who I think will be pretty good on Carolina too. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I could go
found
for it.
as we've gotten older, like at least for myself, like I'm way more interested in seeing like the younger rookies like be good early on and see them like you could follow them their whole career. So that
Mhm.
was part of like what really made me want to do a dynasty league. So I mean, we've been talking about a lot. I'm pumped for Anthony Richardson. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts and like they started talking about like before the NFL draft, like who they thought was the top QB, and people started talking about Anthony Richardson. They were talking about how he's like an athletic freak and all this crazy stuff. Um, and I was like in there. And then I'm watching the draft, and the Colts take him, which was like a great spot. Shane Steichen, who was on the Eagles, is the coach there, and he worked with Jalen Hurts. So that was awesome. And then right after the draft, I see the Colts like tweet out this hype video for Anthony Richardson, and I watched it. I'm about to play it for you guys. I was like sold right then. And then I go and I look like, okay, two other QBs got drafted before him. Where is their hype video? Like the Panthers didn't have any hype video, and the Texans didn't have any hype video for Stroud. And I was like, okay, the Colts like clearly believe in this guy is like gonna be fucking good. So I was in, and I was like, I can't leave the draft without this dude. Like I would overpay for him. Like I was gonna trade up. Thank God he fell into my lap. But enough from me.
How do you feel about 4 right now?
Good. I think we'll get the best player in the draft, to be quite honest with you.
Man, that Joker, he an alien. Come on, man. The ability that's in his body.
What a moment for young Anthony Richardson.
I do think it's untapped.
What a play by Richardson. A ball fake to keep it alive. Are you kidding me?
Something that he can do, very few people on earth can do.
Uses that 230-pound frame.
You can see the will to win with Anthony
I see a
Richardson.
generational talent, something that may not come along but every 50 years.
He'll load it up and cut it loose with that big arm.
That's crazy.
He ran faster than any quarterback ever. He jumped higher than any quarterback.
Richardson still on his feet.
This kid is so super talented.
Here goes Richardson to the
He
end
just
zone.
fly to the games with a cape on.
Superman in. Going for it all to the end zone.
This guy has stuff at the floor level that people's ceilings will never reach.
There goes Big.
Are you all in on Anthony Richardson?
Great stuff today. Enjoy watching. To say that he would be in a Colts uniform, I'd be ultra excited.
Watching the tape, I'm tape recording some of this stuff and sending it to Chris. Like, this is the #1 pick in the draft.
Pretty fucking hype. I saw that shit and I was like, I need this dude. Like I'm sold. And where is the video? All I'm saying, where is the video for Bryce Young and CJ Stroud? Go look for it. I couldn't find it. So I'm hyped. All right, moving on. Eric, which second or third year players on your roster is taking a leap this year?
So I picked my 2 Packers players actually. So I picked Romeo Dobbs, Dubes, whatever however you say it, and AJ Dillon. And I think with Love behind QB, it could be a little jump this year. Could be exciting. I'm not banking on it, but I also specifically picked those 2 because I didn't want to jinx any of my other players. So they were the kind of the ones that fell out of not my favorite. Didn't want to jinx some other players I think might have a great year. So I'm going to go with those 2.
Yeah,
About
for
you?
me, it was my 2 wide receivers, Chris Olave and Drake London. Very happy to get both of them. I think they're both going to be stars in the league, so I'm pretty pumped for that.
Oh yeah, they'll be sick.
How would you define the current status of your team, Eric? We've got 3 options here: rebuilding, competing, or retooling, which is kind of like in the middle.
So I think I touched on this a little bit. My draft status was or draft status. My draft what was it?
Strategy?
Strategy. Thank you, not status. My draft strategy was to do a team that could compete kind of in the short term in the next few years. So I think I did a pretty good job of that's where my team will be this year and hopefully the next 2 to 3 years. And then it'll probably be a rebuilding or retooling time after that, bringing in some rookies in that time frame. And, some players will retire, be out of their prime and, end up swapping them out for some rookies. So I think right now competing hopefully this year. Yeah. What about you?
I'm rebuilding. Wasn't really the plan, but I think subconsciously, I wanted the younger guys, and then just I let the draft kind of come to me. Like there were points where I, was looking at other guys, but someone was available. I felt like they were of value, and they happened to be young or a rookie. What about areas of improvement for your team, Eric?
I think my maybe 2 spots when I was thinking about this question earlier was a backup quarterback after Allen and Goff if one of them goes down. Because I only really have Trey Lance, who's not a given to start on that team, even though he's super talented and I think he's a great player and was excited to have him. Because then after that, I only have Stetson Bennett, who's, behind Matt Stafford. So that's also not a lock unless Stafford has a horrible year or gets injured. So yeah, maybe adding one more, quarterback that's more likely to see the field this year would be an area improvement for my team. And then I think rookie wide receivers too. I only really have Mingo. I realize I have a few, running backs, and then I have my taxi squad guy shorter, but not too many like rookie wide receivers on my team. So that's probably an area I'll look to, bolster eventually. And I'm happy with tight end. I think I have some good options, but that's potentially an area too where I could maybe add another more proven tight end. But I was pretty happy with who I got. So
Yeah, for me, like young running backs and then a tight end. I'm the worst team in the league for tight ends. So if you hear any of the players we need and you've got them, like hit us up. I'm gonna be trading more players like J.K. Dobbins. I don't expect to be on my team at the end of the year. I drafted him because I watched, I'm in the DC area, so you see a lot of Baltimore games, and he looked good at the end of the year. Like in the playoffs too. Like I was watching and I made a note on my phone, like draft this guy. Like he looks like he's back. So hopefully he gets the contract. Like I'm pretty sure that's the reason why he's not practicing.
he's on the
And
pup list right now, right?
yeah, I think it's contract related. But he'll take off this year, and then I will trade him to a team that wants to win because he will help you win.
I always love that reason because it's like right now he's like player unable to perform because he needs some money.
Yeah. All right, so next section, which we'll probably have a little bit more answers going on as the season progresses, but breaking down your recent trades. Eric, you haven't done a trade yet, so I'll take this one.
I was gonna say that'd be real short for me. So yeah, you go ahead.
I traded James Cook for Deontay Johnson with John in our league. And I just thought Deontay Johnson was undervalued, like in general. Like I think he's really good, and he's still pretty young. And James Cook, I think, should be really good too. Like I'm sort of going back and forth. Like there's a lot of hype coming. James Cook catching passes from Josh Allen and stuff. So I wish him the best, but I just wasn't really sold. And I kind of thought like if he was that good, he would have played last year. When like why not? It was like Devin Singletary, like he really couldn't get any time past Devin Singletary as a rookie, so I was okay letting him go for that reason.
I still can't believe that he's Dalvin Cook's brother and their names are literally the same.
Dude, same. That was
and
so random. I was like,
that was crazy.
yeah, I had no clue.
No.
All right. How about to spark a couple more trades? Players you've got your eye on other rosters.
So this one will make sense as I was talking about before. Potential another backup quarterback, Sam Howell, Washington quarterback. Again, I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year. It wasn't really rookie, so I didn't really have him on my list there, but I'm excited to see him play this year. Potential there, players I got an eye on. Another one is Kenneth Walker III, Seattle running back. Also just excited to see what he's going to do this year. It's pretty good last year, so hopefully he continues to have a good season. Got an eye on him. And then again, to kind of bolster tight end position, potentially is Dalton Kincaid, Bills tight end. Their rookie this year, I think. Yeah, he was their pick in the draft.
Yeah, and this is not to send us some low ball bullshit offers.
Yeah,
this is to get the conversation started. So I know some of you are gonna fucking send some crap our way. That's not what this is for. This is to help improve each other's teams. With that said, players I've got my eye on: Quentin Johnson, the rookie wide receiver on the Chargers, who Nella, you've got him. I want him. I have Herbert. I would love to have them together. Like I mentioned before, Jahan Dotson. Chauncey, I think you have him. Washington player. I don't have any Washington players on my team. I'd love to have one. And then Jaylen Warren on the Steelers. Like I think he's pretty good. I like him. I don't remember who has him, but if you do, hit me up. I will give something to you for him. So our last question, and probably like one of the most important ones, is what's the best way to contact you if you want to make a trade?
This one I just put as a joke answer. I said carrier pigeon, but that's obviously not. It's just fuck with you. You're giving me.
I said a
questions.
postcard when John and
Yeah.
I were first talking about this question. Yeah, we're all the same.
That's funny as shit. Yeah, I think in honest answer though, probably just Discord DM, probably easiest. Like I get notifications on my phone for all that stuff, so it'd be the same as texting me, and then yeah, that's probably just the easiest way. Not I don't even can you DM through Sleeper? I don't even know. Or is it
Yeah,
just
you
the
can,
main
but they
chat?
just like changed the app, which I guess
Okay.
makes it a little bit more complicated. But
Yeah, so not that, just through Discord, or you could text me. Either one works.
yeah, for me it's the same. Discord DM. I'll see it and I will respond. And then we're also going to be asking all of you guys and make like some sort of contact list so we know what the best way, besides just in this interview format, to get a hold of you for trades, because that's a huge part of the league. And yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for our first episode. In future episodes, we're going to be interviewing each one of you guys to run through the same questions or maybe expand on it a little bit more, trying to keep these around a half an hour because we know we're all busy. But I hope this is going to be a great way to get everybody to know each other in league and feel more comfortable reaching out and just continuing to building on these friendships. So really glad you guys are all here. Eric, thank you for co-hosting with me and co-commissioning with
Yeah.
me. And we will see you guys next episode.
Assistant to the commissioner.
Assistant to the commish. Later, guys.
Later.